Now you're a level even higher. Shine on, be a man, right into the sun. Stay strong, you can make it if you know inside you have the answer. Shine on, time to play. Game on, nothing left in your brain. Very close to victory, the finish line for you and me. Never give up the path to your destiny.
Hey guys, Sam right here, back again with another episode of the Pokemon Sword and Shield series, Champions Road. In our last episode, the group had a double battle with Rinto and Peonia, and Lucas had a battle with Chase. Lucas ended up winning that battle. However, they also heard that the next gym is in Chichester, along with there being a new tournament. Now the group is on their way to Route 8 and on their way to Chichester. Now while they're making their way through Route 8, Chase is thinking to himself and reflecting on the past few days. He's thinking about the time when Rinto didn't want to battle him because he considered him an underdog, and how Lucas kind of destroyed him in a battle. He's also noting that he's not training his Pokemon to the best of their abilities. His Pokemon are a tad bit underleveled and could easily use the training. This is when he decides that he's going to stop here and do some training. While the group had no intention of stopping here, Ash does convince Elaine to stop here instead of just going straight to Chichester. Ash actually wanted to do some training as well, as he feels like Rinto was a bit too close to his level and he wanted to do some training with his Pokemon as well. This is when we get a training battle between Ash and Chase. Ash sends out Drizzile and Chase sends out Chimchar. Chase wants to help Chimchar with its confidence issue, as it is very shy and it's not to the best of its ability. It actually ends up hindering it on the battlefield. Ash is more than happy to help out with it, since he had his more fair share with Pokemon that have confidence issues. So Drizzile and Chimchar have an amazing training battle. It's very dynamic and both Pokemon are gaming even. Drizzile is holding back a bit to help Chimchar's confidence, but it's not to the extent where it's not trying. Both Pokemon are trying their all. This is when Elaine decides to start making curry and sets up camp. A bunch of wild Pokemon actually come to interact with him. Elaine is one of those people who carries berries on hand, so she always has something to share with the Pokemon here. So it's not really left for a conflict. This is when we see one Pokemon in particular watching her cook the curry. This Pokemon being Phalanx. It doesn't interact with her yet, as it's still far away and it's making its way through the catacombs, or that little inning that you see in Route 8. I don't know what they're called. But Ash and Chase decide to go their separate ways when it comes to training. Ash is focusing on getting his Pokemon just more tighter and getting their moves to work better, just overall efficiency. Chase is trying to complete a gap and trying to actually overlevel his Pokemon instead of having them being underleveled. Every Pokemon right now is training intensely. Meanwhile, Elaine and her Pokemon are busy making the curry. Now once the curry is finished being prepared, Elaine does call Chase and Ash in. While Chase and some of Ash's Pokemon do go in, Ash and Drippy don't go in, as they wanted to do a couple more. Ash and Drippy don't come in as they wanted to complete some of the training exercises that they were doing. This was working on the ghost typing that Ash knows that Drippy can evolve into, since Drippy is a pre-evolved version of Dragapult. So he's trying to see if Drippy can use some of its ghost-like qualities early on. Now this is when they see another wild Pokemon approaching, and this is the same Phalanx as before. Phalanx makes it clear that it wants some of the curry as there's no berries left, and Phalanx easily steals one of it due to the leader Phalanx's amazing coordination skills. Phalanx is the type of Pokemon to rely on a leader, and since this leader is an expert, it ends up stealing the curry no problem. This curry was Ash's curry, and Ash isn't happy. So when Ash comes back only to see he has no curry, only to see Phalanx feasting on what should have been Ash's, he gets very mad. Now this is when Ash and Drippy decide to battle Phalanx for the curry. As silly as it sounds, this is what happens. Now the battle is pretty intense, because Phalanx, due to its leadership ability, isn't too offset by the dragon typing. Drippy is still trying its best, but the leadership abilities of Phalanx makes it a powerful opponent. This is when Phalanx uses the move No Retreat. It amps up all of its stats, but this time Phalanx can't run from a battle. Ash is incredibly impressed by Phalanx and wants the battle to keep on going, saying that he's not going to run away either. The battle reaches its climax when both Dreepy and Phalanx are exhausted, but due to Ash and Phalanx not retreating, this battle lasts all the way down to sunset. Ash ends up catching Phalanx as Phalanx has nowhere to go, and Ash thinks that it would be a perfect match with him. While they're on their way through the Steel Drift Pass, a time-space rift occurs. Now this is when we're going to hard cut to Chairman Rose and Pierce having a conversation. Pierce is clearly bothered by him being called in by Chairman Rose, as Pierce has already gone to the gym leader meetings and is aware of the new terms and conditions that gym leaders have to follow and all those formalities. Chairman Rose isn't here for that. Chairman Rose has a conversation with Pierce that basically boils down to Pierce and Chairman Rose talking about Marnie. Chairman Rose is talking about how Marnie is going into the gym challenge to get Spikemuth back on the map, as Spikemuth used to be a bustling borough full of people and Pokemon, and now it is just a slum in Galar that everybody's kind of ashamed of but nobody really talks about. He actually laments the fact that Pierce became a musician purely for the fact that it would help get Spikemuth on the map, saying that it was a huge burden to put on Marnie. And he knows that he created Team Yell specifically to help Marnie. But with Chairman Rose's new experiment, assignment, whatever you want to call it, new idea, he can make Dynamax spots appear almost by choice and at will. Pierce doesn't really care for Dynamax, says that this doesn't interest him. Chairman Rose still says that the Dynamax phenomenon they know is dying, and that they could easily revive it in Spikemuth and turn Spikemuth back what it used to be and get the burden off his sister. Pierce agrees to this only so it can help his sister, and nothing less and nothing more. Pierce leaves, and this is when Oleana reminds Chairman Rose that he's on call from a person named Saturn. Now while Chairman Rose is on this call with Saturn, Saturn tells him that the red chains that he wanted has been delivered, and this is when the time-space rift arc occurs, and that will happen the next episode. Yeah, this episode was pretty short. I wanted to establish that Ash caught Phalanx and that the team was training, but it wasn't really necessary. The next 3 episodes, hopefully, will be a 3-episode long arc being Legends Arceus related. So with all that being said, Samurai out.